Peace, family.
Wait. Yep. Okay, go ahead. All right, guys, we're starting on Instagram. Everyone join us. We're today, it's going to be an amazing day because history is going to be made today. Because the history of people's movements has always been marked by this following item, where if people can choose the path of a revolutionary movement or a path of failing and following what we call the not so obvious establishment. Robbie Racist Kennedy hit his first shot after we exposed him, and he vomited all over me. Now we're going to destroy him, and we're going to destroy him because a freaking Kennedy clan thinks they are the only ones who can lead movements. Well, you know what? That day is freaking over. Take it away, Pharaoh.
That's right. Listen, y'all. Y'all know how I do. I come for straight carnage and destruction. And so I am on this channel tonight for nothing less than that. And so, you know, I want to make sure I give my introductory very, very, very properly. So if y'all see me peeking at my notes, that's what I'm doing. But I want to give a special salute, first of all, for Dr. Shiva for being on the ground, you know, even before we even knew who you were, because mainstream media doesn't do their job with properly covering people who are actually for the people. So I want to, again, thank you for that. I want to thank your entire team that's here and, you know, everybody that's tuned in. And as I give my intro, y'all, I'm going to take my quick peek at my notes. And with that being said, we are here today with Dr. Shiva family, the inventor of email, MIT, PhD, scientist, at inventor, okay, who's running for U.S. Senate. And he's running against, you know, this person who's been yapping his flapper's nephew, okay, who is also pro-vaccine. And I'm going to be coming right behind Dr. Shiva to swing my axe at who's ever still breathing on this battlefield. But I want to let y'all know we're coming with PowerPoint destruction today. I am Mr. PowerPoint himself. Dr. Shiva, this title's off, and there will be no games played. And so I want to let y'all know that the things people have to do to win are also the tactics that cause them to lose. And this is one of those tactics. So, you know, I'm gonna let Dr. Shiva, you know, get the rolling us into this here. I'm gonna be also, we're going to be being very transparent. I'm going to be bringing up questions that Kennedy raised in regards to, you know, Shiva being allegedly pro-vaccine and being connected to Bill Gates through Echo Mail and all of this crap. So y'all know.
Yeah, Robbie, why don't you come on over here? Because he's got like 20 people who had to help him write that nonsense. And this is what the Kennedys do. When we met him in New Jersey, Richard's on the phone. He had to be in a nice black car, and he had about 30 people, and you know he had to bring all his entourage of all the women in business suits. And me and Richard just had our little microphone, and with one other guy, and he didn't even bring a freaking microphone, did he, Richard?
That's right.
Richard, did he?
No, he had no sound equipment at all.
Yeah, he had no sound equipment. And by the way, I went and embraced him. He didn't want to shake my hand. That picture everyone sees was because I extended a olive branch. And then the motherfucker didn't want to shake my hands. And then, in fact, when people gather around and say, let's take a picture, he said, no, I don't do that. Right, Richard? Isn't that what he said? Richard?
Yes, that's what he said. I don't shake hands.
He goes, I don't shake hands. So that picture you see was my picture, and he never really wanted to touch my hand. That's who the Kennedys are. And furthermore, Robbie Kennedy, I invite everyone here listening. You can come to my house, you can come to my building, and you can check if I'm a vaccine manufacturer. Let's see if the Kennedys allow you into Hyannisport. You know, these people die left and right. No one even knows what the hell's going on in their family. If people die in our family, people figure it out pretty quickly. But in their family, everything's a freaking mystery. But today, we need to destroy the modern day Kennedys. They're far from John F. Kennedy, I can tell you that. But today, it's time that people realize that we break. Yes, there is a division. Robbie, you talk about a splinter. No, it's bigger than a splinter. It's a freaking steak, okay? And we're going to plunge it right in between the division between people who want to build a revolutionary movement with my leadership, or do they want to follow your misleadership, which has been tanking the anti-vaccine or the medical freedom movement. And furthermore, Robbie, you know what? You're a freaking liar. A lot of Democrats are coming our way. So many Democrats are coming our way. You know why? Because your party sucks and you don't give any leadership. Democrats are coming my way because they realize, wow, that guy's actually teaching us science. That guy's teaching us about the immune system. You've had this for 15 years, Robbie. All you've been doing, Robbie, is doing lawsuits. That's all you've been doing. You haven't been going at the problem because you don't want to go at the problem because you're tied at the hip to Hillary Clinton. So let's go back and review what got Robbie vomiting. You know, that's what the Kennedys do. They get drunk and they vomit. Okay, so that's what just happened here. Let's talk about their freaking vomit that just took place. So let's look at here. Okay, By the way, today's show, I'm really happy to have Pharaoh on. It is Dr. Shiva and young Pharaoh who are going to destroy racist Robbie Kennedy.
Period.
And the party's over. The party's over. And the reason we call Robbie Kennedy racist, because the Kennedys take pictures of black folks, you see? Because I met Joe Kennedy. I don't need pictures of black folks. I got them in my album, you know, black and brown. But he's got to go to homeless places and take pictures. That's what I saw him doing. That's what the Kennedys do. Started with the father, Bobby Kennedy. He used Martin Luther King, which Pharaoh's going to talk about. And that's what the Kennedys do. When we started exposing him, he started finding other black and brown people to be his proxies. Buttar, whatever the fuck his name is. And then he had to go to get another woman in Samoa. That's what the Kennedys do. When they cannot handle things themselves, they find proxies. The problem is to you proxies, Jen will talk about it, we started exposing Kennedy. And instead of wakening up, you became an accomplice. That's what you became. It's like, what is that called? That syndrome? What is that called?
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. So you are so enamored by the Kennedy mystique. Well, it's time to bust it up because it's time to break free of the freaking Kennedys. They do nothing except promote themselves. Every 6 months, there's another Kennedy movie. Well, let's talk about it, okay? What's really going on here? Well, first of all, remember these two people, Hillary and Bill? They're connected like this. They're connected like this. So stupid Robbie Kennedy, all of his clan got together to try to associate with Clinton. We're going to bust up that, and Pharaoh's, we're going to put this totally transparent. First of all, you remember this picture we went over last time. Here's the entire clan. You got Bill Gates over there. You got Fauci. You got the Bill and Melinda Gates. And over there, you got Hillary Clinton. And yeah, you have Robbie. You know why you have Robbie Kennedy? Because he's the back end for Hillary Clinton. And this is a picture we went and shared over and over again. Remember this, everyone? Remember this, Jen? We went over this, right? We shared about how Hillary Clinton is backed and endorsed by Robbie Kennedy. But you know what the problem is? Hillary Clinton and Bill Gates are connected at the hip through an organization called Gavi. Gavi is an organization which is a vaccine alliance. And Hillary Clinton took lots of money from Monsanto, lots of money from Bill Gates. She's connected at the hip with Merck. And here's the problem. Here's the problem that Robbie Kennedy has, and he doesn't like, because no one who wants to bow down to the Kennedys even bother doing the freaking research.
That's right.
Let's look at, no one did the research, Pharaoh. They're all sitting there bowing down to the Kennedys because the Kennedys are, some gods, whatever they say we're supposed to bow down to. Well, this dark-skinned untouchable from India wants to break that. That's because we need to build a freaking revolutionary movement. Let go of the Kennedys. And we're going to destroy them today for the lies that they've done because they screwed with the wrong freaking guy. They screwed with the guy who actually came bottoms up and worked his butt off. And Robbie Kennedy, let's do a debate openly. Bring all your motherfuckers, okay? Let's talk about it. And you won't because you hide behind 20, 30 freaking people. I'm out here openly. You got to do your little Instagrams, right? Well, we're out here openly. Hillary Clinton Global Initiative, tied at the hip to Bill Gates. Fact. She loves vaccines. Fact. She believes vaccines are absolutely safe and effective. In fact, she tweeted it out before you endorsed her, and you still endorsed her. She took $100 million from the Gates Foundation for one of her initiatives. She took another $300+ million in Gardasil vaccines. She's funded by Monsanto, and she received the biggest funding from Big Pharma. And you know what Robbie Kennedy said? She's fighting Big Pharma. Bullshit. See, the Kennedys think they can lie, people die, and things just go on. That's not how it occurs anymore because you know what? There's a new sheriff in town, me. And we're going to clear all of this up. Now, by the way, Robbie, you said she's a fighter against Big Pharma. Well, explain this. She got the most amount of funding from Big Pharma right here. See that, Pharaoh? Most amount of funding. And Donald Trump is all the way down here. And you know what? Trump didn't take your ass, Robbie, because he saw through you. That's why you didn't get put on his commission. He saw your bullshit. Trump's a smart guy. So let's go over here. This is Robbie Kennedy's actions. Here's Robbie Kennedy's actions. And you know what? We're going to split this movement because there has been no movement at all. The real movement is revolutionary or you suck up to the establishment. So if you want to talk about splitting the movement, go suck up to Robbie Kennedy all day long. We are splitting the movement. We're splitting the movement in a revolutionary approach, or those people want to follow his dumbass approach. Because here's his dumbass approach. 2000, Robbie Kennedy endorsed Hillary Clinton. 2008, Robbie Kennedy endorsed vaccine Monsanto Queen Hillary Clinton. 2016, Robbie Kennedy endorsed Hillary Clinton. 2020, he raise money for his pro-vaccine mandate nephew. Right here. The guy, the little redhead kid, 38-year-old kid who's already got $51 million in the bank. God knows how he got that. Sure, he didn't work for it. So now let's get to the lies of Robbie Kennedy. Here are the lies of Robbie Kennedy. Here's the lies of Robbie Kennedy. Hillary Clinton is pro-environment. That's his first lie. Hillary Clinton, I wish people, if you're texting me, please don't do that to my texting because I'm going to shut you down. Thanks, Hillary Clinton is an enemy of pharma. That's the other thing you said, Pharaoh.
That's right.
And he says, I run a vaccine company. Let me bring up my chief science officer right here. Hey, Prabhakar, can you tell us if we run a vaccine company? Hold on. Prabhakar, can you tell everyone what we do? Prabhakar, do we run a vaccine company? I have my chief science officer right here who I work with every day. Prabhakar, what do we do? What do we do? Tell Mr. Kennedy what the hell we do. Do we run a vaccine company?
For sure, not vaccines to begin with. What we do is we are a computational biology company that uses modern 21st century technology to accelerate development of multi-combination therapies that include nutraceuticals, functional foods, and pharmaceuticals as well. So, and the way that we do it is using the platform that Dr. Shiva developed during his PhD work at MIT called Cytosol. And the current research has a lot of information already about a lot of experimental biology that has been done, and we actually mine all those vetted, peer-reviewed, published in the peer-reviewed journal papers, and extract the mechanisms of how things go on in the body at the molecular level, and use them to create the computational models and integrate them using the Cytosol platform that Dr. Shiva developed. So this gives us.
I'll be bringing up some diagrams shortly, but the bottom line is Robbie Kennedy's got a massive slander libel lawsuit coming to him. Robbie, lawyer up, buddy. You called me a vaccine company. In fact, you know what? The guy was a heroin addict. Okay, he's probably got more needles where he has than we have anywhere near our companies. Okay, we got none of that. All right, so Robbie, you better send an apology because you're going to have lawyers on your ass, okay? We're not a vaccine company, period. We don't manufacture vaccines. But you know what? As Dr. Dianucker said, who has a PhD in chemical engineering, because that's what we do here, we create technologies. And you know what? It would be awesome if the freaking pharma companies did use us because we would eliminate the need for animal testing. We would figure out products that were not toxic. That's what we would do. So Robbie, you should actually be happy that I have my company. And by the way, Pfizer, the innovation group came to us because they know Pfizer's tanking. And they gave us an amazing opportunity to prove our worth. And that whole innovation group went away because Pfizer doesn't want to be innovative. And that's all on the record. So Robbie, come on down to Cambridge, and anyone come on down, all your little Children's Defense Fund, little people who want to, suck up to you, come on down. Open, transparent. No, we're not a vaccine company. Yes, RFK's deep state. That's what he is. So let's go back to my slide here, Pharaoh.
That's right.
All right, let's go back to the facts here. So I don't run a vaccine company. Now, this guy says I'm not being censored. Oh my God, I should have 20 million followers for the great content I produce. He produces lame shit content. He produces lame content. That's why him and Bugtree don't get any views. I produce amazing content, and finally, we're getting our light in the day, and they're so freaking jealous.
Let me add this to the fact that you are getting censored, and I can say this from personal experience. When you click your Instagram, and anybody that think I'm lying, go click his Instagram and screenshot it. When you click certain videos on Dr. Shiva's Instagram got this new thing going on where it say you've been fact checked. So he's definitely being censored. And whatchamacallit, I can't think of the twins' name that he just did an interview with.
Diamond and Silk. We did our video. They got banned from Fox Nation. That's what happens. They don't care about you, Robbie, because you're harmless. You're old hag. I'm sorry. No one wants you. Okay? My stuff is new, and that's why it's getting censored. I mean, if I wasn't censored, I'd be at easily 20, 30, 40 million. Period. Okay? That's why they're censored. You got lame guys, your stupid Bugtree guy who's got to get Botox, and he's got this high wire nonsense. He's not going to go anywhere. My content is going there because it has value and it's going global. That's number let's go back to the slides here.
That's right.
Let's go back to the slides and get on with the show here, because Mr. Robbie Kennedy needs to be completely destroyed. Next thing is Shiva partners with Microsoft, Dell, and Oracle. This is unfreaking believable, because he went to my EchoMail site. Yeah, when we buy 1 copy of Word, and by the way, we don't even have a partnership. When we buy 10 copies of Word, they give us 20% off. That's your freaking partnership? Oracle, if we buy 1 server license or 2 server license, we call those partnerships. And Dell, and by the way, anyone can come check my paperwork out. You know who Robbie Kennedy has partnerships with? We're going to get to. He hangs around and has hung around people like Jeffrey Epstein. That's who he has partnerships with. Partnerships with Microsoft and Dell and 5G. Are you freaking crazy? How lame can you get? How lame can you get? Because we've exposed you and sucking up all day long to your little friend over there, Hillary Clinton, and her family forever. That's what you've been doing.
That's right.
Dr. Shiva is pushing away Democrats. Far from the fact. You know what? We have Democrats. I can give you 10, 20, 30 names of people who've come into my office and say, I'm dumping the Democratic Party. I'm voting for you. That's what's going on. People are coming to us because they see me as a fighter for truth, freedom, and health. They see you as a total scumbag. They see you and your family as someone who's taken advantage of people for a long, long time. And that's what bothered you. So you had to vomit lies, vomit lies, vomit lies, vomit lies. Pharaoh, is there any other lies we need to go over?
I'm actually
Let's go over all the lies of Mr. Vomit and the entire Kennedy clan. All of them. Because this is war.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen as we speak. And if you could kindly click it and pull it up.
Great.
Because we want to make sure we tap on all the lies. Okay, y'all. So y'all know how I do when, you know, me personally, when I do my exposures, I like to rebut the blatant lies that people tell on me. So I'm going to be bringing my playbook to the field. You know, I went to the Super Bowl every time and won rings every time with my playbook. And I'm going to do that again tonight. So this picture that you explained, I'm not going to have you fully explain it again, but I'm just showing people that this is the picture that.
Yeah. So let's explain that picture. Yes. We went down to the New Jersey movement January 6th. He didn't come with anything. He had his own little speech over there in that one area, Pharaoh. Mm-hmm. Didn't invite us. We had our own speech in another area, and everyone came to us because we didn't want to be associated with him. When he came walking to me, and I have multiple witnesses, I was wanting, everyone's like, oh, Shiva and Bobby don't get along. So I went up to him, and I put my arm around him. He didn't want that. Then, right after this, bunch of people came around. They said, take a picture with him. Take a picture, like an official picture. Goes, no, I won't shake his hand. And I have a witness here. Richard, you want to tell people what he said? Richard?
Yeah, he said he didn't shake hands. And this photo was definitely forced. Everybody in the crowd was demanding he take the picture with you.
Yeah, he didn't want to do this. So that's number one. So Robbie now, this is how the Kennedys work. They're damn liars, liars, liars. So he uses that because that was me trying to make friendly with him. And then there's videos out there, we should get them, where he actually says, I won't shake his hand. Next.
That's right. So next, it's Shiva claims all these individuals are controlled opposition, are patently absurd, and all of these individuals are who y'all see at the top. It says attacking our leaders: Dale Bigtree, Marks Blackseal, Dr. Rashid Budar, and Candace Edwards. You can address this.
Well, first of all, Budar is not even a leader in any of this. And Candace Edwards is a nobody. She's just a local person here who's a tool of Mark Blackseal. Mark Blackseal is a tool of pharma. In fact, I was the one who exposed him because an amazing young man, Jake Crosby, you can look him up. He was the one who first exposed Mark Blackseal. Mark Blackseal has a vaccine-injured kid. He infiltrated the movement called Safe Minds, and you can read the work, the amazing detailed work of Jake Crosby, who exposed Blackseal. And Jake Crosby was essentially smothered by the movement. And Mark Blackseal heads up Health Choice, who Candace Edwards reports up to. So Mark Blackseal has been in the pharma. He was a BCG consultant. He's basically, if you look at his background, Woodrow Wilson School, Harvard Business School, he's a guy who infiltrated the movement. He's a guy who destroyed Brian Hooker's testimony. And everyone can call Brian Hooker. He tanked his testimony in front of Dara Issa, which would have been one of the most biggest exposés of the CDC's malfeasance with thimerosal. He destroyed that. I brought it out at a hearing, and Jay Crosby sent all the details of Blackstall's insidious behavior to that dope right there. He's not a leader. What's his name? Big bug tree, whatever the hell he calls himself. Okay. And then Kennedy wrote back a letter to Jay Crosby, putting him down, saying, you know, I'm Martin Luther King and you're Bobby Seals, basically saying, I'm the not so obvious establishment and you're the revolutionary. That is Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy knows what he's doing. He's supported and hid Mark Blackstall. Mark Blackstall's girlfriend, by the way, funds Andy Wakefield. Andy's a puppy dog. I'm sorry, he's a nice guy, but he basically needs money. Blackstall's girlfriend funds Wakefield. This is one little incestuous little white boy, white crowd. I'm sorry. No racism, but I'm the outsider who came in, Pharaoh, and we started exposing them. They didn't like that. And right there is Jen Bennett, a mother, started exposing them. Jen will talk about it. And Richard, a sanitation worker, started exposing them. In fact, when we went to the hearing in Boston, we gave the most amazing hearing, me, the scientist, Jen, a mother, and Richard, a sanitation worker. And you know what happened? Blackstall's people were attacking us. How come you're involving a sanitation worker and a mother? Well, to me, everyone's equal. For them, it isn't. And Blackstall tried through Health Choice not to have us even give our hearing. So yeah, these people are the misleaders of the movement.
And
they're the
Richard has
misleaders.
something to add as
That's
well.
right.
Richard, you have something to add. Go ahead, Richard. Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say about that photograph. That was after he came out of that cafe that was in the basement there. And when he came out to decide to walk the last lap with everybody else, like he was the hero. He only
That's right.
walked the last
Yeah.
lap.
Let me also they were supposed to walk 90 laps. He came and walked the last lap. That's Kennedy around the State House in Memoriam. That's what these people do. Total showmen. That's what the Kennedys are. Time to break from them.
And on top of the fact that, you know, he's exposing himself out to be a liar, I'm having a lot of fun going through each and every last one of these false claims individually. And one of the funniest ones to me personally is this one, just off the fact that not only do I personally study you, so you're not just a great current mentor and influence in my life, you're still currently a teacher in my mind. So not only do I know that you're not a pharmaceutical distributor, a company, or a vaccine creator, you know, me having a actual understanding of cytosol and its liberating potentiality, not just to this country, but to the world, I find it very, very, very odd that, you know, somebody would accuse you of this. And so with that being said, if everybody remembers Dr. Shiva's interview with me on my channel, we went through what cytosol was. So for anybody who synced this post and you allow them to do a Jedi mind trick on you and have a misunderstanding of cytosol, shame on you, and learn how to be loyal to your own self and learn how to be loyal to the truth. But
yeah, so there's people right here, some idiot, Kaminar Helgo, saying we are a vaccine maker. So clearly this is a Kennedy shill. That's what's going on. Cytosol is either she's stupid or he is stupid or they're paid by Kennedy. Mm-hmm. Cytosol is a technology that models molecular pathways. Maybe you don't know what the word modeling is. Right. And that technology can be used to identify toxicity. In fact, one of the things that when I first graduated my PhD, we wanted to actually help these guys. In fact, there was a contest run to figure out if there was a pandemic, you know, could a technology like this help? We didn't win it because they knew our stuff would show toxicities. They didn't want that. In fact, every vaccine manufacturer should use us. And you can look through all of my records. We can audit Bobby Kennedy. Come on down. And those of you who say we're a vaccine maker, please keep saying it. Jen, please take screenshots, okay? Because that is libel and slander. I've already talked to my lawyers, and people can look who my lawyer is. Libel and slander. So keep saying it, Robbie. You're going to have a class action suit, a multi-plaintiff, multi-defendant suit on you. Keep saying it. False. We're very transparent. Everything I've done is out there.
What about
okay, look at this. This is a pot calling the kettle black. Let's talk about that. Okay? And let's talk about that, Pharaoh.
That's right.
You know, one of the things is I'm an inventor. Robbie Kennedy's family can't invent anything. I'm a guy who invented the first email system. And then I went on to MIT to invent many other things. In fact, I'm the guy in the middle of my PhD work By the way, I earned my PhD, not like all you guys where your parents gave you trust funds, Robbie. I actually worked my way through all the way. So let's go into it, Pharaoh. I'm going to share over here. Wonderful. I hope everyone's having a lot of fun here because it's time that we divide. It is time that we have not just a splinter, a clear division within those people who want to win and those who want to follow the little Kennedys.
That's right.
That's what we're going to talk about. And this is about revolutionary movement or some pussyfooting around, sucking up to legislators. So let's look at this. So there is a division. And everyone tonight's got a big choice to make. Do you want truth versus lies? Do you want bottoms up versus top down? Do you want revolutionary leadership versus the bullshit of the not so obvious establishment of the Kennedys? That's what this is about. And by the way, this is what we talked about. This guy, Robbie, is tied at the hip to Hillary. And if you don't want to believe that, and let's talk about the Clintons. I have a relationship. By the way, here's his little nephew boy, Representative Kennedy, parts from Uncle on vaccines. You see that? And here he is with his uncle. And what do you see there? Robert F. Kennedy for U.S. Senate fundraiser. So he's raising funds for that. Does that make any sense?
Not at all.
Does that make any sense? So he endorses Hillary Clinton. And by the way, I'm the one who brought him out. So he's got to vomit on me and this. Now let's look over here. This is where I come from, Robbie. You wouldn't even step foot in there. You only would have pictures from there. My people are farmers, everyday farmers. That's my grandmother. And you know, she's watching from heaven. And my grandmother could read people's faces, analyze them, and figure out what's going on in their body in a small village where she made nothing. That's where I come from. And she practiced an ancient form of Indian medicine, which you know nothing about. And that's my family. My family's not your family that bootlegged, okay? My family could not, go in jail and get out. Your family can. Stuff happened to me, we paid a price. That's my family. And by the way, that's you and your wife, who I believe died or committed suicide, and that's Jeffrey Epstein. That's your family, all right? And here's also your family. There's your records. There is Bobby Kennedy and Mary Kennedy in Epstein's Rolodex. That's your family. You see, my family's this, okay? You can't come near my family. Your family, people disappear. No one knows what the hell happened. Screw you. This is you. You're in Jeffrey Epstein's Rolodex. That's where you are. You can't compare to me. You can't compare to where my people come from.
That's right.
That's right. And this is where I grew up, okay? Right? And by the way, people come in and out of my house, not like Hyannisport, where only certain people can come. And by the way, everyone's invited to my home. If you want, come on by. You can come on to my place. Everyone can review everything to see the lies of this scoundrel. That's what he is. And this is where I worked as a 14-year-old kid in Newark, where you would only go to take pictures of black folks.
That's right.
Because that's why you're a racist. You use black people, you use minorities, and you work, and you and Hillary Clinton and Bill Gates all practice institutionalized racism. You test your drugs, which is what Hillary Clinton does, and Gates, on poor folks in Africa, poor folks in India. That's called institutional racism. That's called using people like guinea pigs. And then you go find Buttars and other people to be your proxies when I come after you. That's another form of racism. And then you take photo ops with people. 3 types of racism you do. That's why you're a racist. You see, I actually worked with people in Newark full-time as a 14-year-old kid, where I did medical research as a 14-year-old, understanding why babies die in their sleep. And then I went on and worked with secretaries, everyday working people, black and white, who for you would just go see them as a photo op. These were my friends. These were my family. And for them, I created something called email. When I converted the electronic version of the interoffice mail system into its electronic format, 50,000 lines of code, when others thought it was impossible. Here's one of your white boys, okay, who tried to attack me because he never even thought it was possible in December 1977. He said it was impossible to build a system like that. But in 1978, that's what I did. I named it email. Yeah. And I got the first US copyright by myself. Mm-hmm. No one helped me. I did that. Screw you, Robbie Kennedy.
That's right.
And that's where I learned how to build an email system. Then, you know what? All my stuff went into the Smithsonian. I didn't get PR like you do. You have 20 PR people. This went into the Smithsonian long after I created it, when my dear mom was dying. And this beautiful article came out called The Man Who Invented Email. And guys like you, racists like you, white liberal racists like you, wanted to deny that. But the truth is, I invented email, and I did it before I came to MIT in an all African neighborhood called Newark, New Jersey. And that bugs you because you want to control everything. And here's the other thing. After I created email, during my PhD work, I was invited to participate in an incredible, honorable competition with other companies as a PhD student. And I won one of the Lemelson MIT Awards for innovation. One of the very few awards, very few people get it out of MIT. And I did it as a PhD student. And here's the article in the Christian Science Monitor, which we've shared. It says, cheering on the ingenuity of today's and tomorrow's innovators. And what does this article say here, Pharaoh? Shiva Ayyadurai, founder of Millennium and inventor of the White House encryption system. When President Clinton needed a reliable encryption system for his electronic mail, he turned to Mr. Ayyadurai, whose classification system beat. That was an honor. I won a competition, which you guys can't compete. You guys need money. That's why your boy and you always you pay off people to get into all your schools. This is me working hard. I won a competition. I work with the Clintons? No, the Clintons wanted me. They ran a competition because they can manage their email, and I won a White House competition. And that became, and by the way, look at this. I also won at the same time another award. He goes, now he is hosting, Bruce remembers this, a virtual reality art show called Crossing Lines, billed as the first international internet multimedia arts exhibit on racism and discrimination, with the goal of bringing art and technology together. And Robbie boy, I wrote this book back in 1993, before you even knew what the internet was. You see what it says? Arts and the Internet, a guide to the revolution. So I built an arts company to help artists go direct, and I won an amazing contest by the National Institute of Standards and the Executive Office. That's called innovation, which you know nothing about. You know how to get wasted. That's what you know. And you know how to lie and cheat.
That's right.
And here's the other deal. That became the basis of me starting a company. And that's Bruce Padmore. Bruce, you want to tell where you grew up, how you made it to MIT? Let's talk about reality, Robbie. And by the way, you see there's all dark faces here. These are my friends. They're not photo ops. Bruce, you want to tell what we did with EchoMail? How we built it?
Well, yes. We were working on Arts Online, Artist Community Online, and you said you were doing non-destructive analysis and had the idea of saying, hey, I can use signal analysis tools to help me classify emails, which was a brilliant approach. It was fantastic. And I said, well, that's amazing. Let's try to build that. And the other approach was using the idea of society of mind, using multiple techniques to classify emails and combine them to a single solution, which produced a very efficient algorithm. It's just the way your mind works, the way you think, the way you organize is simply brilliant. Now, I came to MIT from New Orleans, the poor part of New Orleans. And when I arrived at MIT, there were assistance programs that Shiva fought for that made all the difference. They helped minority students make it through the MIT program. When I arrived, I was alone with no family support structure. Those essential services gave me the confidence to strike out on my own. So not only has Shiva been fighting the good fight since the beginning of time, he has also been a good friend and a great inventor.
Thanks, Bruce. Look, the bottom line point I want to make here is we're going to get to that, but the invention of EchoMail, we gave thousands of people jobs. I don't see the Kennedys giving anyone jobs except begging for money. And EchoMail, you know what? We built that grounds up. Bruce didn't share with you. No one gave us money, right, Bruce? We went and bought our own server. I went and traded a small room with the head of the arts department in Cambridge. I went and got AT&T as my first customer, then Nike. We built up a company bottoms up, no VCs. Not like Robbie Kennedy. Me and Bruce working 2, 3 in the morning. You remember that, Bruce? We used to sleep in the basement over there, and in the room over there.
Actually, the computer we used for competition, we purchased with the intention of taking it back before the 30-day.
Right. That's how we would do it. That's how we built EchoMail into a multi-million-dollar company. We gave people jobs. We defined an industry. And that's what you can never do, Robbie. So you have to lie like a dog. And here's all the press we got. We helped the White House. We helped the U.S. Senate. We were everywhere. We created an industry. That's what innovators do, not like you.
That's right.
In fact,
And then more recently, I wrote a book called The Future of Email, which exposed your little girlfriend, Hillary Clinton. Okay? We exposed that, and we said that we're heading into the haves and have-nots, where rich boys like you will protect their emails and everyone else won't be able to. That's what the future of email is about. So getting back here, Pharaoh, this is what I shared a few days ago that had him do his vomit, okay? And everyone knows what the vomit is. That's what you see here. What you see here is this, and this is a relationship you see between Bill Gates and Hillary Clinton through their organization called Gavi. That's what we see here. And Gavi is surrounded by UNICEF, WHO, vaccine manufacturers. So just think about it. 1 degree of freedom away from vaccine manufacturers, all these people. And we talked about how Gavi supports the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is occurring at a time where pharmaceutical sales are failing. I mean, their development, what you see in this graph is year over year over year, they put more and more money into R&D, and they're finding less and less new drugs. You see this? Their entire industry is failing because they're producing toxic chemicals that don't work.
That's right.
And my interest is natural products. But you know what? If you look at the way they're doing it, year over year R&D, less and less new drug approvals. It's failing. And the reason it's failing, which we've openly discussed for the last 10 years, you'll find video upon video upon video, is that they discover a new compound, they do in vitro screening, and you know what? They kill a lot of poor animals. And this is what they do, okay? Unnecessary and cruel animal testing. I love animals. I've always had animals, okay? This is what they do. They do this cruel animal testing right in this phase, and you know what? They kill thousands and millions of animals. And the goal was what comes out of here, then they have to apply to the FDA. And what you see in this graph is they're not getting FDA allowances because of the toxicity. So my brilliant idea was to eliminate animal testing. And how could you do that? Well, imagine if you could do what we do with the cell. Imagine taking the cell and thinking of it as a complex refinery. And imagine that cell being seen up of molecular reactions. And imagine we could read the papers, extract out, as Dr. Dieneker said, the molecular pathways, and come up with very powerful mathematics to put it together. You know what we could do? We could eliminate the need for animal testing. And that's what my other invention among the many was with Cytosolve. And the goal of this was to completely revolutionize medicine. So we could find out how my grandmother combined different medicines. And if pharma were smart, we could eliminate way up front all the poor animals that they kill by doing stuff on the computer. And in fact, no one believed we can do this. You know, it's idiots like Robbie Kennedy. He didn't invent email. So we got to prove that we can do it. So what do we do? By the way, this is how we build airplanes. We build this software. We build this computational capability so we don't have to kill test pilots, so we don't kill animals. That's what Cytosolve is. And you know what? Every freaking company in the world should be using us. But pharma won't because they're afraid that we'll find toxicities in their product. If they do, awesome. And that's the collaboratory we've created. And let me give you Dr. Dieneker. Prabhakar, maybe you can walk them through this amazing research work we did that explains to people what we did as a proof of concept. Because no one was going to believe that our technology would work unless we could actually do better than the gold standard, which is pharma. We had to do better than them before I went to the FTC and said, you know what, I could figure out combinations of supplements that could work. So Prabhakar, maybe you can share with people this right here.
Sure. So this paper came out almost 6-7 years ago now that was promoting the use of combination drug therapy for diseases like cancer, especially in the post-genomic era where we have a lot of information at our hands. And in this paper, only Shiva's thesis was the one that mentioned that can handle such kind of complexity of developing multi-combination therapies. So at that time, we were a small company, about 7-8 people. We raised quickly about $1 million, and then we decided to quote unquote eat our own dog food to see if we can come up with a multi-combination drug therapy for a complex disease like pancreatic cancer. So towards that end, we developed almost 50 mathematical models that describe these two key biological processes of cell death, that's a cell apoptosis, and cell growth, which are targeted by most of these cancer therapies. You want to increase the cell death of the cancer cells, and you want to reduce the growth of the tumor. So once we did that, we went through the existing generic drugs that are available on the market because we didn't want to run into any legal issues. So we found about 256 generic drugs that people have been using for cancer therapy, of which we identified 13 generic ones that showed a lot of potential for these models. That led to more than 10 million combinations, of which we shortlisted 78, optimized 5, and we found 1-2 drug combination that actually did better than the existing gold standard of gemcitabine.
And one thing is, all of this is done on the computer without killing any animals. And we did it in a record 11 months. And when we've never done this before. We're not clinical guys. All of this on the computer. And when we applied to the FDA, we didn't really, we had to hire people to help us do this, a medical doctor, et cetera. After we applied, 3 months into, we get a call from the FDA, and they said, and we thought they were calling to reject us, like we'd done something wrong. And they said, we are so impressed by what you're doing. What you're doing is a future for the 23rd century. That's what they said. So what we're doing here
is the FDA doesn't call anyone.
Yeah, the FDA doesn't call anyone. But the point is, what's happening in the world of pharma is they're producing more and more toxic drugs. Mm-hmm. So they're looking for ways. And here we're doing combination therapy. And if you look at the combination, this is the same thing we do today, because we frankly have no pharma clients. We don't produce vaccines. If pharma were smart, they'd use us. But they do not want to lower the price of drugs. They want to keep them up. They want to move everything to vaccines. They want to keep prices up. If they were smart, they would use us. And we're open to it because we want to lower toxicity. But what we do today is we really help everyone in the natural products world. So what we do is we look at natural product combinations, what my grandmother would do. We're able to model, for example, inflammation. We're able to look at what turmeric does, what happens when you eat grapes, what Dr. Prabhakar called functional foods, combinations of those. And based on that, we can figure out combination therapies. So for example, I can find 3 units of curcumin, 2 units of resveratrol, lower inflammation from 0.15 to 0.03. That's what we do. That's what Cytosolve is. And you know what? The fact that Robbie Kennedy dared even attack it shows a level of evil in this guy. Because this is a technology that can save the world. We can lower the cost of medicine. We can eliminate animal testing. Mm-hmm. That's what we're about. And everyone's invited to come here. Anyone. And I invite Robbie Kennedy to come here. Come on over, Robbie.
That's right. You know what? Right. Dr. Shiva is a genius. I'm not saying this because this guy is, a friend of mine. I'm the most non-biased, neutral person I think that breathes oxygen today. I can be your friend and tell you that outfit is horrible. And so my thing is, Dr. Shiva's achievements intellectually are not only great individually, they can, I'm not even gonna say potential. They have proven themselves to have the quality of ushering in a new medical age, if that's the correct terminology for this specific subject matter. I'm going to say medical age, because we need a new age of medical existence, period. So Dr. Shiva's technology has the exact qualities needed to usher in this new medical age, which we all so desperately need. As he stated,
one of the things, Pharaoh, is here, when you talk about ushering a new age, when I got into the vac, it was pro-vax, anti-vax, pro-vax, and you have people like, Kennedy boy here, living off this movement for years, talking. Well, when I came into the pro-GMO, non-GMO movement, Dr. Dinarkar will tell you, is this pro-GMOs, non-GMO, pro-GMO? And we said, let's find what's really going on.
Right.
And that's what these guys get involved in. They're like poverty pimps. They jump in, take one side, rile people up, get people to their side. And when people tell the truth, they say you're dividing the movement. Right. So here, when we got into pro-GMO, we saw this paper that came out, says buy fresh, buy GMO. So again, we applied our technology. We applied Cytosolve. We, in fact, donated this. We did this for nothing. Not like begging like Robbie Kennedy. Oh, fly me out there. Give me $30,000 for my private jet. That's what he does. Ask him if Richard's on the phone. We drove down in our car. Right, Richard? Taking our equipment. He came in a flight with an entourage. Okay? You get the difference? Drive down in my little SUV with Richard, with our little stuff, entourage. Okay? Flights. Why? Because he's a Kennedy. He gets that treatment. Screw that. But when we looked at the GMO movement, we ourselves organized all the literature. Prabhakar, 6,200 papers we brought together. We modeled the molecular pathways of all plants. Robbie Kennedy didn't do that. He didn't do shit.
Can't do that.
He can't do that. He's a lawyer. I'm going to sue. Give me money. I'm going to sue. That's what he does. Lawyer, lobbyist. And his nephew's a lawyer. But what we did was we did hard work in the middle of doing my other work, trying to survive and make money, pay my bills. That's what I've done since a 14-year-old kid. He had mama and papa take care of him. Okay? We organized all those papers, and we wrote a series of 4 papers where we conclusively showed this is what Cytosolve does. We can take all the research, bring it in. And that's what we do. And what did we show? We showed that genetically engineered foods, you see, mathematically, we showed in vivo, in silico, you see, here's ours, that organic soy has 9.749 units of glutathione, which is a very, very powerful antioxidant. And the transgenic one, which is the Roundup ready one from Monsanto, only has 3.9. We showed why when Monsanto does that genetic engineering, it brings it down. And then we validated it with experiments we found in vivo. 9.9 in organic and 3.7. Bottom line, our mathematical model predicted what we saw in nature. It's quite extraordinary. And until we did this research, there was a big argument always. We brought it together. But you know what? Robbie Kennedy and Del Bugtree, they make money off people arguing all day. We want to resolve things. We want to solve problems. They don't. And by the way, Pharaoh, I don't know if you know, I was in this movie, Pierce Brosnan produced it, called Poisoning Paradise. I'm the main scientist. And what's interesting is, I was in that movie with Robbie Kennedy. But Jen pointed out something. Around this time this movie was being made, this is what he was doing. He was endorsing Hillary Clinton. Okay? So this is the evil nature of Robbie Kennedy and his clan. He's doing a movie on Poisoning Paradise, which is against GMOs and Monsanto, and he's endorsing Hillary Clinton, who's taking money from Monsanto. Can someone explain this to me? Can someone explain, after you know this and after we expose this, the vomit he's put on me, that I have a partnership with Microsoft? Are you freaking crazy? I buy their software. In fact, we don't buy their software anymore, but we used to have a partnership where if you bought 5 units, you got 10% off. That's what they call their business partner program. Okay?
That's right.
You have real partnerships, you and your little lady friend, Hillary Clinton. That's called a real partnership. So, by the way, Robbie Kennedy and his clan over there, the Gates and the Hillary Clintons, want to push utopia on us. And that utopia involves global vaccination, which means that all of us need to get vaccinated everywhere. That's what Hillary Clinton wants. The same person Robbie Kennedy endorsed 3 times, and the same, his congresswoman man friend here, his nephew. And when you look at this, you find out that these strategic development goals is all about us all getting immunized. That's what it's about. And when you look at it, they say their hero countries are Denmark. And Denmark, by the way, just pushed forced testing, that they can come into your home with police and vaccinate you. And this is part of the strategic development goals, which Hillary Clinton, who Robbie Kennedy endorsed, get that clear. He actually endorsed her, put out a press release. I'm not in a partnership with Microsoft and Oracle. Such a blatant lie. I think this guy wants me to sue him. And then all of this stuff is brought to you by Big Pharma. And these are the 3 Big Pharma heads who support this. Okay? There you go. Pharma is behind the strategic development goals, and they're making vaccines year over year over year, doubling their amount of vaccines. Global vaccines, 60 billion today, and it's going to double to 120 billion. Brought to you by Bill Gates and Hillary Clinton.
That's
through
right.
Gavi.
And communist China.
Communist China. And this is what you see. And this is where got Robbie, I think, really pissed off because I exposed him. Because look at what you got here. These 2 are involved with Monsanto, Gavi, Merck, CDC, and WHO. And you know what? These 2 are the same freaking people. And by the way, let's not forget, Monsanto and Bill Gates both are donors to the Clinton Global Initiative.
That's right.
And I want to bring back Bruce. One thing that I have not shared is I've been a fighter. I'm not only am I a scientist and an inventor, but I'm a freaking fighter. When I went to India on a Fulbright, I was recruited by the Prime Minister of India to run the largest innovation center. And by the way, all my stuff's out there. We don't hide stuff. We don't have trust fund kids getting lawyers to hide our stuff. And what I exposed in the Indian government was corruption. I could have stayed there and I could have been the Minister of Science and Technology. This was 3 years ago. I wrote a series of papers. It was a whistleblowing paper. And I was hired and fired in 3 months. And I had to literally escape India. And it appeared all on primetime news. I had to literally go up to the border of Nepal, cross over, and barely made it home. That's what I did to fight for the freedom of Indian scientists. And this article came out in Nature. That's one way I fought. But, it goes way beyond that. I've been a fighter. That's me burning burning the South African flag on the steps of MIT. I've been a revolutionary fighter because you know what, Pharaoh and others, I learned about the not so obvious establishment as an 18-year-old kid. People like Jesse Jackson, people like Bernie Sanders, people like Robbie Kennedy.
That's right.
I became a revolutionary. I'm not a not so obvious establishment. I'm here about building a bottoms up movement. That's me when I led a 5,000 person march onto the steps of MIT as an 18-year-old kid, because MIT had investments in racist South Africa. And we weren't talking about we shall overcome. No, our slogan was apartheid in South Africa, burn it to the ground. You see, that's a revolutionary slogan. That's different than accepting being beaten up. And that's me challenging the president of MIT. President of MIT because he wouldn't divest from South Africa. And that's me organizing students when a friend of mine was jailed by the Sri Lankan government and tortured and beaten. I was the one who got him out. Okay? Right. I succeed, I win. Not like talk about lawsuits all day. And that's me at my PhD graduation. This was not a popular thing to do, saying US out of Iraq. 10,000 people gave me a standing ovation and the other 10,000 booed me. And like Bruce said, I'll bring Bruce back on. In MIT, what many of you don't know is when I came to MIT in 1981, you know, the Indians there were racist. They didn't want me. My friends were poor blacks, the poor Hispanics, and the poor whites. And I organized movements on campus to defend the gains that were brought in to make sure people like Bruce and others can come from inner cities. Bruce, you may want to expound on that. When you came to MIT, how difficult it was to survive there.
Well, I came there alone with no family support. And basically the essential services that Shiva fought to maintain and keep functioning at MIT pretty much empowered me to strike it on my own. That's where I found myself, really. And it was only there because Shiva fought for it.
Yeah, and I think people need to understand that the problem that Robbie Kennedy has with the situation here is, I've been a fighter, Robbie. I'm a triple threat, scientist, inventor, and a fighter. So you screwed with the wrong guy. And I'm reasonably good looking and I'm articulate. That bugs you guys. That's why my views are growing. And there should be 10 million or more.
That's right.
More. Right. And by the way, we talked about this. And I'm going to hand it over to Pharaoh because he's going to expound on this. But the theory is everyone needs to understand the theory. Everyone has a decision to make. We are at a dividing point. It's not a splinter. It is like a complete division needs to take place. The people want to follow the Kennedys to their death, to their end, to their demise, that's suicide over there. The movement's going to go nowhere. Or a revolutionary leadership like what I'm offering and what our movement offers, which is truth, freedom, and health. But it recognizes that we have the establishment, which is the obvious ones like Hillary, who Robbie Kennedy endorsed not once, not twice, 3 times. Not once, not twice, 3 times. Let's repeat that. How many times, Pharaoh?
Too many damn times.
Too many damn times. Right? And then, by the way, the obvious establishment includes these guys. And over here is all of us fighting on the streets, okay? We're the ones who take our equipment where Robbie Kennedy flies into New Jersey and doesn't do jack, okay? This is people like Richard, myself, Jen, people on this phone call. We're not elites. And then in between them, they bring the not so obvious establishment, like Robbie Kennedy, like this guy Bernie Sanders, who talk a good game all day. By the way, these people are plagiarists. They talk, they steal my rhetoric. They steal it. Mm-hmm. They're plagiarists.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. All the time. I see it all the time.
Just steal Shiva's rhetoric.
Yep.
And think they can package it.
Yeah.
And then go on shows and try to get views. This butter guy, he called me up and he goes, I got 4.5 million views. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. I go, why don't you? It seems like you want to suck, you know who's what. Okay. So anyway, this is how the not so obvious establishment works. Bernie Sanders sold out the movement. Jesse Jackson sold out the movement. Okay. Robbie Kennedy and the Kennedy family are institutionalized sellouts. That's what they are. They do selling out in a beautiful way. But their goal is to suck people off the streets, mm-hmm. and they'll talk about boots on the ground. Bobby Kennedy knows shit about boots on the ground. Nothing. Okay. But their goal is to do this. And they're two sides of the same coin. That's right. That's what we're talking about. Take it away. And so there's we the people, there's us. Go ahead. I know you have some stuff to share here.
That's right. Before Dr. Shiva brings my PowerPoint up, you know, for those of you who may not be familiar with me, let me reintroduce myself. I go by Young Pharaoh. I am the person who has been breaking the internet since day one. Particularly this last month, I've been pulling a juggernaut on the internet. I have been beating mainstream media. You know, this might be a stretch, but I'm willing to say I've been beating YouTube media outlets as well as far as investigative journalism goes. I have completely connected all dots factually using documentation and public information that's available to us all. And I've completely connected communist China to Bill Gates to Anthony Fauci to multiple organizations and institutions that will mention, such as the WHO, the CDC, the FDA, the United Nations. I've connected them to governors, entertainers, and I've also exposed the entire White House task force team for being connected to or influenced by Bill Gates, either through institution or financial funding. So I'm very qualified to be joining this conversation. I'm applying a lot of pressure. And Mr. RFK, I'm about to crack your back. That's one of my sayings, and you're about to find out why. So if you can, Dr. Shiva, share my screen. Now, what we're looking at here, okay, is we're looking at the past, and then we're looking at the future. See, because the apple don't fall far from the tree, especially when the tree is a deep state tree. Now, you might say, Pharaoh, why do you have Martin Luther King on this screen? For those of you who know me personally, you know I've been doing extensive research. But if not, I'm going to speak to you as if you're just finding out who I am. Martin Luther King was a fraud. I'm sorry. If you support Martin Luther King, you're a fraud. Why? Martin Luther King was paid opposition. He was financially funded by the deep state, aka the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and all of the sick weirdos, and he was partnered with the Kennedys. You see Robert Kennedy right here in the picture with this man. You see Martin Luther King in this above top left photo with Jacob Rothschild and Nelson Rockefeller. These entities financially supported Martin Luther King so that he can teach the Black community to be docile and to not disrupt the dark side of the political agenda of those people that we call the deep state. That is facts. Now, when we're dealing with entities such as RFK Jr., as Dr. Shiva has stated, the man talked with a forked tongue. And a snake is a divine animal, so I hate to call the man a snake, so I'm going to call him a centipede. The man is a centipede. Now, you cannot, see, this is what y'all don't understand. Somebody who is publicly denouncing Anthony Fauci and Bill Gates, right? You have to look at the timing, okay? And I'm a veteran at what I do, so allow me to show y'all what I do. We have to say, well, damn, RFK, you've been here since there's been cobwebs on tombs. Why haven't you said anything about Fauci all of this time? Why haven't you said anything about Bill Gates all of this time? Why are you saying something now when people like Dr. Shiva, young Pharaoh, and others are exposing them? And this is no disrespect to that other doctor, but you just jumping out your tree out of nowhere. Let's be let's be clear about who opened this door. Dr. Shiva opened this door. Young Pharaoh opened this door, and as well as others. But this is what y'all not seeing. What they're trying to do is they're trying to jump in our lane, take our lane over, and then redirect you right back into the burning house. And I'm gonna prove that. I'm gonna prove that. So you haven't said anything this whole time, which means you never gave a damn. So now we have to question, why do you all of a sudden give a damn? And what y'all don't realize is the interconnectedness of this deep state spider web. Whenever you see Hillary Clinton, you might as well be looking at Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, and communist China on a female's body. And so why is this important? RFK is now publicly denouncing Anthony Fauci. What you don't realize is Anthony Fauci is expandable. They can find a million weasels to do their bidding. So what happens is you say, hey, go at this guy, Anthony Fauci, win some public support, win some favor. When this guy inevitably goes down, we'll replace him with another grimy person, but we'll make it look like his downfall is something you contributed to. Now, me personally, I like to say I see with my third eye, so I see beyond the physical limits of you all. Now, with that being said, I'm going to tell you what I see. I see a guy who is publicly denouncing Anthony Fauci and Bill Gates while endorsing the woman who is supported behind the scenes by Anthony Fauci and Bill Gates. Don't believe me? Here's a photo of Anthony Fauci and Hillary Clinton. Here's a photo of RFK Jr., Hillary Clinton. We know for a fact that the FEC revealed that Anthony Fauci's wife, during the 2016 campaign, which was against Trump, donated at least $1,200 to the Clinton campaign. We also know that in 2014, the Clinton Foundation and the Gates Foundation partnered together. Now you might say, Pharaoh, why is this important? You cannot denounce Anthony Fauci, but then refrain from denouncing Hillary Clinton when Hillary Clinton is Anthony Fauci. So it's a trick move that y'all gotta peep. Now I'm keep this thing pushing, okay, as I work. Now let's talk about the horrible, disgusting track record of RFK. He supported Hillary Clinton 3 times, which I'm going to show. Right now, I only have the most recent time. As I get to the next slide, I'll show the 3. He supported her in 2000. He endorsed her in 2000, 2008, as well as 2016. Now, Hillary Clinton is a known racist. First of all, anybody who offers hot sauce to black people in any kind of way, thinking that is going to win us over, that's racist, period. That's stereotypical, and it's very assumptive. Now, with that being said, I want to play a clip of Hillary Clinton, and this is going to be about 60 seconds, where she called black youth, not adults, not grown men. She called black youth predators, and that we need to be put down. So I'm going to play this clip, and then I'm going to drive my point home on this slide, and I'm going to keep it pushing. Let me play this clip.
And they are often connected to big drug cartels. They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. And the president has asked the FBI to launch a very concerted effort against gangs everywhere.
Okay, so let me tell you what Hillary Clinton just did and what RFK Jr. supports. She just desensitized the public to the blatant attack that the FBI would be committing and commissioning on black youth. And I know a lot of people want to say, oh, well, they're connected to drug cartels. No, they're not, because the drug cartels was the deep state. It was the CIA and the FBI at this time. So here's my thing. RFK is so self-righteous now, and he wants to say something about Anthony Fauci. Anthony Fauci has been literally medically injuring people since day one. Anthony Fauci has been in that office since Reagan. Why is RFK Jr. all of a sudden now, after so many presidents, saying something about Fauci, not first, but last? He's not the first person to publicly denounce Anthony Fauci. And since he's saying something now, once again, his motive must be questioned. But
not only that, Pharaoh, I started the Fire Fauci campaign.
That's right.
He tries to jump on board and tries to steal the thunder. This is what I'm talking about. The not so obvious establishment. One of the features, there's 3 features of the not so obvious. This is like physics. It's political physics. First feature is they totally plagiarize other people's stuff. So in the civil rights movement, you had Malcolm X, people coming up. They brought in Martin Luther King. And it was controlled by Bobby Kennedy, the Robert Kennedy, and you can read about it. No one wants to talk a lot about it, but the apple did fall far from the tree. Robbie learned from his father how to control people of color and inject themselves into them, use them as Muppets. So he's got Budar now stealing my stuff and promoting himself and competing with me on views. The guy's never going to be able to compete. He's a moron, okay? Right, that's what he does. They find people who will be their Muppets.
That's right. And speaking of Muppets, let's expose how Robert Kennedy Jr. is most definitely a Muppet. Now, if you all were shocked by that Hillary Clinton speech where she blatantly was being racist, you should be even more shocked that not only did RFK Jr. support that, he supported that 3 times. He endorsed her in 2000, he endorsed her in 2007/8, and he also endorsed her in 2016. So these are 3 times in a row that RFK endorsed Hillary. Now, when you endorse Hillary, this is what you are endorsing. You are endorsing Bill Gates, and you are endorsing Anthony Fauci, and you are endorsing Communist China. and you are also endorsing vaccines. So it looks good to publicly say you're not endorsing vaccines, but Hillary Clinton endorses vaccines. Even BBC News posted an article February 2015 where it says Hillary Clinton says the sky is blue and vaccines work. Hillary Clinton is pro-big pharma. Hillary Clinton is pro-vaccine. So what we have here is somebody like John Kennedy Jr., who is jumping on the bandwagon of somebody who's already going down regardless, no thanks to him, and trying to get some clout and some support off a movement that he did not start.
Exactly. They hijack movements.
Right, right.
This is what the not so obvious establishment does. They watch first of all, they sit on movements.
Right.
And Pharaoh, one thing may be good. I think it's a good point when we're talking about sitting on movements. If we can just bring in Jen, yep. Maybe we can talk about, everyone needs to hear from this amazing woman, Jennifer Bennett, who also was attacked by Robbie. And by the way, I think you should probably talk about all the women that Robbie Kennedy has done whatever to before we give it to Jen.
Mm-hmm. I'm on my way. I'm getting there. And whatchamacallit, before we pass it to Jen, getting ready to conclude this. Robert Kennedy, by supporting Hillary Clinton, is supporting vaccines. I don't care what he's saying out of his mouth. It's about what he's doing with his actions. And just as he mentioned Monsanto earlier, Dr. Shiva, the Clinton campaign got big cash from Monsanto lobbyists. Okay. And now why is this important? This reconnects her to Bill Gates, who owns millions of shares of Monsanto. So he's publicly down talking Bill Gates and Fauci, but he's supporting somebody who is partnered with and receiving funding by and carrying out the agenda directly with Bill Gates and Fauci. And as I get ready to bring this PowerPoint to a conclusion in about 2 more slides, I have to show you the diabolical circle. Okay, Robert Kennedy Jr. supports Hillary. Hillary endorses Biden. Biden supports this old Colonel Sanders looking Bernie Sanders guy. Barack Obama endorses Biden. And what you don't realize is we might as well say Bill Gates endorses all of them. Bill Gates gave Obama $25 million. He gave Hillary $100 million. Okay. He got Fauci in his back pocket and in his nutsack. Okay. Fauci is connected to all of these crooked organizations via the CDC, the World Health Organization, which Bill Gates, once again, is the second biggest funder of, Big Pharma, the Clinton Foundation, Chan Zuckerberg, and then we have Communist China. So JFK is down talking publicly somebody who's nothing more than an expandable weasel. So that way they can replace somebody with another expandable weasel that's not so obvious. And as I get ready to conclude this, as I said, I have to sting. So I got 3 more slides that's about to sting really bad. But first I want to show y'all, a conjunction of my research. Bill Gates is Mr. China. We're just going to call him Mr. China from here out. He's been in China since 2007. He has recently committed $100 million to Communist China. Why is that important? He's done it underneath the guise of the Gates Foundation, who Anthony Fauci is on the leadership council of. So if Bill Gates commits $100 million to China, that means Anthony Fauci commits $100 million to China. Bill Gates also has CDC, FDA, WHO, as well as Clinton members on his leadership council. Okay. And on top of that, if the Gates Foundation is sending money to China, everybody else within these organizations or his council is also approving that. Now, when we come down the chain of command, we have now the White House Task Force. I've done a presentation that I'm not going to go through now, but it's called Everybody in the White House Task Force is Connected to Bill Gates. Go watch it. And everybody that you see with a number over their head, I have shown you either institutions that they've created on their own or that they've worked for, where they have directly either received or are still receiving funding from Bill Gates. So I want to start at the top of the pyramid and come down. You got Bill Gates, aka needs to be arrested right now, aka Mr. China. His little weasel friend is Anthony Fauci. Fauci and friends are all of these organizations that you see here. Fauci and friends level number 2 is everybody that's on the White House Coronavirus Task Force. And then below them, you have governors and these entertainers who are wrongfully influencing the people. Now, I want to say something about Robert Kennedy Jr.'s character before I pass this over to Jim, because he tried to lick a shot at Dr. Shiva, but I had to let him know we have the bigger gun. I have the biggest gun. And so I'm returning fire. Now, you have a guy named Robert Kennedy Jr. who wants us to assume that just because his last name is Kennedy, we should live off his clout and what he says is facts. Okay. Now, Robert Kennedy Jr. just lied on Dr. Shiva. Dr. Shiva refuted all claims successfully. We brought them up on this live. We didn't run from anything. We even brought up his Instagram to refute them. So, that's that. Now we want to get into his little skeletons in his closet. Now, I know this is a sensitive subject for some, so I'm going to be as nice as I feel like being. Now, with that being said, let's talk about his second wife, okay, who allegedly committed suicide. And I have to say allegedly because it seems like every time somebody knows some dirt on a powerful political figure, they just hang themselves. So that just must be the thing now. When you learn some knowledge of corruption, go hang yourself, apparently. And I'm saying that to say this. They said the same thing about Epstein, who we also seen with the same character we're talking about. Now, when we want to talk about Mary Kennedy, right? We want to tell her side of the story that this asshole never tells, about how he stressed this woman out and about how he caused chaos in this woman's life. And he was so bitter into this damn divorce battle that even this article posted by the Daily Mail from 2012 says that Mary Kennedy was forced to borrow $20 for groceries in the final days of her divorce before her suicide after RFK Jr. cut the money off to squeeze her during their bitter divorce battle. So if this doesn't show you what kind of asshole this is, you don't have eyes to see. Now, I want to show y'all why I believe this man abused this woman. Because his half of the story is that she was drunk. She used to be an alcoholic. He even went as far as to say she's a boxer and she used to physically abuse him. Now, that sounds good and that sounds believable only if you weren't currently allegedly cheating on your current wife. So your second wife allegedly committed suicide, okay? Because she had mental issues and she used to lash out at you basically for no reason. So I want to know what RFK's excuse to us is going to be when his current wife does the same thing. Because according to the New York Post, in an article they posted in 2014, he had 43 suspected mistresses in his damn phone, all under the name G. And several of the women, okay, whatchamacallit, several of the women on the roster contacted by this post said that they met Kennedy through his work as an environmental lawyer and activist. So now, why is this important? We see that RFK is a parasite predator, and he will drain your soul essence from you with his wicked behavior and have you in loops around other people who conduct wicked behavior, and then he'll blame it all on you like it's your fault. So this is not only narcissism, this is pure demonic behavior. And we can see what we call in psychology pattern behavior. What is the pattern behavior? The same shit he was doing, allegedly, I'm gonna say allegedly, the same alleged shit he was doing in his previous relationship looks like he's doing in his current relationship. And the reason that I'm saying this is because this speaks to this man's character. He's a parasite. He doesn't take accountability for his actions. And the next slide that I'm going to show, what that's going to close out, is going to really hit home. But I want to say this, right? And I want to bring up his second wife only for my personal, inquiries. His second wife's family refutes the allegations that he puts out about her. And this is a screenshot that I took from a CNN interview, right? Statement from the Richardson family. It says the affidavit, which Mary repudiated at the time, is full of vindictive lies. So they're saying he lied on her vindictively, which I believe because he just lied on you. And also it says the false claim that Mary suffered from BPD, bipolar disorder, is also an insult to those who do struggle with this serious mental illness. And he can't say he's not a liar because once again, he just lied on you. But continuing on, it says there will be a time and a place for the true facts to come out. Now, why is this important? The fact that her family says that this man lies is supported, if not by past evidence right now that we just caught him lying. But if you take a deeper look into this article from the New York Times addressing the autopsy of Mary Kennedy, it says that 3 antidepressants were found in her body at the time of her death. But if you read this report, what you'll see is it says that everything they said she was doing, the article says she was not doing. They claim this woman was an alcohol abuser and that she committed suicide. But as I read this article, you're going to see that it says no alcohol or none of that was even in this woman's system. And so here's the question that I want to raise. Did Mary Kennedy really even kill herself? Because I don't see somebody being an alcoholic every day and being an abusive person every day and not harming themselves, but then somebody being almost sober and hanging themselves. That's not adding up to me. So before I get to my last slide after this, I'm gonna read this article and I'm gonna ask y'all to, y'all be the judge with your own common sense. So according to this article from the New York Times, which was posted in 2012, it states, Mary R. Kennedy, the estranged wife of lion-ass Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who was found dead in her home in May, had traces of at least 3 antidepressants in her system, according to an autopsy report. While Mrs. Kennedy had struggled in the past with alcohol addiction, there were no signs that she had been drinking before she hanged herself with a rope in a barn behind her home in Bedford, New York. So all of this, she was a drunk, and all of this, she was crazy. Her family says you're a liar. I believe you to be a liar because I just watched you lie on Dr. Shiva. So it's not a question if you're a liar. That's, you prove that between your actions. I mean, within your actions. But what I want to know now is, was this woman's death a suicide? Because I'm not here to get into the Kennedy family business, because I would need Scooby-Doo and I would need Dean and Kane off Supernatural just to figure out what be happening to y'all. But the point I'm trying to make is everything that come out your mouth is not legit. And the reason I say that is because Robert Kennedy Jr. wants us to believe that this woman was out of her mind and she was an alcoholic and she just started wilding for no reason and she committed suicide. But if you don't want us to believe an alcoholic, why should we believe you when you're allegedly a heroin addict? This article right here from the New York Times, again, from 1984, is you admitting to having possession of heroin. So it's not a secret that you tap on your vein from time to time. So here's the thing. Don't try to shoot this woman's credibility down and associated with alcohol abuse. How are you supposed to be credible if we take your same methodology and use it against you? If she's not believable because of alcohol abuse, how the hell are you believable when you're doing drug abuse? And I'm gonna end here, and I'm gonna pass this torch.
Yeah, I think I'm watching a lot of the questions here on Instagram. Look, the bottom line issue here is that big liars like the Kennedys put out nonsense like they did when they're exposed, Pharaoh.
That's right.
They're evil. I've got people here thinking we run a vaccine company. All you idiots out there, listen very carefully. And if you're not idiots, then I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You all can come down to Cambridge. We don't have needles here. We don't run a vaccine company. Everyone get that? Anyone keep wanting to ask that? What everyone should do here is to go destroy Robbie Kennedy and get him the hell out of our house. This guy is completely evil.
That's right.
Evil. The Kennedy is an Illuminati family. That's what they are. Look, I always give my grandparents told me to always give people the benefit of the doubt. But you know what, Robbie? I'm going to hit you 1,000 times harder than you've ever had it coming. And I'm here to destroy your entire Kennedy mystique. Because how dare you say that I run a vaccine company? That's right. I'm a technologist. You don't know how to write software. You can't fix plumbing. You run your falconry. That's what he does. That's what little Kings did, Pharaoh. He does falconry. And then he invites people to pay him money to go falconry with him. It's an aristocrat.
That's right.
How dare? So anyone out there, I want everyone's names, anyone who says I run a vaccine company, because I've spoken to my attorney and I've sued and I've won. You can't lie. Freedom of speech is there. Truthful free speech. So Robbie Kennedy, I'm coming after you. So anyone who wants to say I run a vaccine company, please keep coming.
That's right.
Okay? And what we do is we created a very powerful technology to eliminate the need for animal testing.
That's right.
What we do is we discover combinations of amazing products, natural products. That's why if you go look at the logo of Cytosolve, what is it? What is it? It's vegetables and fruits. We're trying to figure out their combination. Exactly. So anyone here on Instagram, any fool over here who wants to suck up to Bobby Kennedy, please leave the movement. We don't want you.
That's right.
You're out. There's one movement, and that movement is a movement, a revolutionary movement for truth, freedom, and health. If you want to join Del Bugtree, who's so jealous of me because I got all these views, he's got to say that I'm not being censored. Are you out of your mind, Del? You're a moron. You're a freaking moron. You're a second-rate producer. That's who you are.
That's right.
Okay? You can make it. And bottom line is people have caught up because you know what? Truth will always prevail. Bobby Kennedy, we're coming after your bullshit lies.
That's right.
You don't run a vaccine company. Number two, I don't work for the Clintons. You do, motherfucker. You work for the Clintons. Yeah, I actually got an award, a prestigious award. My parents, it's all on my resume. It's always been there. We have nothing to hide. You have shit to hide. You kill people probably and you hide it.
Listen,
uncle did that. Your uncle did that and got away with it.
Listen, speaking of that, that brings me right into this. Right. That brings
and all of you. You know what's really interesting? It seems like they don't want dark people running movements, Pharaoh.
They don't. Listen, they don't.
And if a dark person comes, they got to have a white hand up there. That's what Bhutar has, and that Samoan woman has, and Holly has. They find good people, and they try to victimize them. That ain't happening anymore, Bobby. Your father did it to MLK. He screwed over Malcolm. That ain't happening this time. This time we're going to win. Let me give it over to Jen. Jen, why don't you tell us, why don't you tell everyone here, first of all, the nonsensical lies? And I'm looking at these comments here because this moron, this liar, this entire family is built on lies. This whole family is built on lies. And I'm here, if I do one thing in the next today, is to destroy the Kennedy mystique. It's chains. It's like golden handcuffs on all of us. That's what we're here to do. Because the Kennedy mystique has done more damage to this country than people can imagine. They destroyed the civil rights movement. They didn't build infrastructure in the inner cities. That's what happens.
That's right.
Full of lies. Lies. I have partnerships with Microsoft, 5G. Bobby Kennedy doesn't know what the hell 5G is. He doesn't know electromagnetic wave theory. He can't solve Maxwell's equations. I can. You're talking about a freaking moron. And if we allow people like Robbie Kennedy, he's a Hitler pulling out lies. You know, the lie story, the biggest lies. He thinks he's going to get away with this. Man, every day we're going after you, Robbie. Every freaking day. Jen, do you want to tell us your experience with Mr. Kennedy?
So I'm a mom of a unvaccinated 3-year-old, and I have done extensive research over the last 4 years since having him. And this was honestly a huge breaking point for me when I really started to understand and grasp more of this whole concept of the not so obvious establishment. Because candidly, frankly, we, as mothers, right, as parents, we didn't have great options to really help us fight for our children, right? We either had the corrupt government that's funded by big pharma, right, that want to take away our medical freedom that you can't trust. And then we had Kennedy and people like Del Bigtree. And so, I did go on their sites, and that is how I initially did research. But when I found Dr. Shiva 6 months ago and I saw his talk, I'm like, holy shit, this guy is a revolutionary dude. He is an answer to my prayers. This is exactly what I need, someone to stand behind me that has truth and the science and integrity. And so for me, why, Kennedy just didn't even make sense. There were two big reasons. The first one is when I went to the State House with Dr. Shiva and some other people and learned that, long and short of it, that Kennedy had information that could have protected Brian Hooker and Andy Wakefield, and he was friends with Mark Blaxell, who is an extremely corrupt individual who, again, wants to take, is not supporting at all this whole medical freedom movement here in Massachusetts. And, listening to Pharaoh and Dr. Shiva share all these different perspectives and so forth on the Kennedys, I as a mother spending all this time doing research, I can't believe that I never actually looked at his track record before because of who he is on the front lines, right? You blindly assume that this individual has my best interest, right? But what I've learned is that he is the one dividing the movement. And I'll give you an example. I was talking to a mother the other day, and she was like, you know, Jen, like, I can't believe it, but I voted for Hillary. And I'm like, and she's the mother of a vaccine injured child. And I'm like, what do you mean you voted for Hillary, right? And I got to thinking, but guess what? She follows Kennedy, right? Who endorsed Hillary. And then you have this mother voting for Hillary instead of Trump. And those are just perfect examples of how, in a very snake way, he confuses people and this whole perspective and facade that he's doing something great. But when push comes to shove, he's been doing this movement for 15 years. And we're at a time of war right now. Like, put all of this aside. We are at war, right? They want to freaking microchip us, right? I can't fucking leave my house right now, and I get yelled at for not wearing a face mask. So if you want to have freedom, right, and win this war, like, truly think about who the heck do you want to stand behind, right? A scientist, right? Someone who is willing to fight, or someone that is buddies with Big Pharma, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's a choice. So everyone listening out there, you can go listen to the videos. What we've done, what I've done in the last, literally in the last, my life has been in this field. But when I got involved in this field, there's no literature, no videos, no training, nothing for people. You had Robbie Kennedy just raising money for his little clan and people trying to get in the limelight. We have this little setup here. Little video. You can come to our home. It's a very small home here. Okay. Yeah. And we put out those videos day and night. What has Robbie Kennedy done? And we are going to bash him. People are wondering, why are you bashing Robbie Kennedy? I think
when I started getting more involved too, I couldn't believe like the money and the fundraising that people were giving. So like he would come speak, right? So like a mom of a vaccine injured child is, shelling out $200, $300, $1,000, right? So Kennedy will come to town.
Yeah, we went to the VI event. I'm sorry. We went to the VI event where they begrudgingly invited me. And when I spoke, Del Bigtree cut my video for 2 minutes, right in the middle of a very important thing. No one else's video was cut. But more importantly, after that, there was a VIP event. Well, people are getting plastered for 4 hours, open bar. And at the end of it, Kennedy gets up there and he begs for money. We ran over by 25 grand. Well, that open bar was probably 25 grand. So what you have, as Jennifer saying, is these people don't value money. When we run our campaign, we stretch it. We ran an entire federal campaign, Jen, $150,000, and we got 100,000 votes. Elizabeth Warren raised, I think, $40 million. These people don't value money. They don't value work. But what we're here to talk about today is that we're the ones who went after Fauci. We're the ones who educated the world on the immune system, not Bobby Kennedy. They have a lot of money.
That's right.
And then we also started educating people on the political physics here. And that's what we're talking about. If you truly want truth, freedom, and health, if you truly want to win, you have a choice to make. You have a choice to make whether you're going to listen to the vomit that this lying bastard put up. That's what he is. He's a lying bastard. There's no other words.
That's right.
It's just a lying bastard. And that family is made up of a bunch of lying bastards who get away with murdering women.
Yeah.
Chappaquiddick, let's not forget that. And what we're witnessing right now is a guy who does this as a shtick. And you know what? I called him out. The darky called him out. And he doesn't like that because he likes to take advantage of darkies. And it ain't working because I ain't being a good Indian. And if you don't think this is racist, there is real racism. I'm not talking about me and Pharaoh. You talked about that, right? White liberals want to say, don't use the N-word, right? As though that's not racism.
Right.
And then let's support affirmative action. Let me tell you what real racism is, what we're witnessing right now. Robbie Kennedy attacking a guy who every day has fought for this movement, fought for it his whole freaking life. And this guy calls us, let's go through the lies. A vaccine manufacturer, I have the chief science officer in the company. Bullshit. That I'm not getting censored? Bullshit, Robbie. You have horrible content. No one wants your freaking content. You have to write off my back.
That's right.
Number 3, Microsoft is my partner. Come look at my books. We buy software from them. In fact, we don't buy any of their software. We use open source. That's a 20-year-old website. Okay? So you're a total bullshitter because I got you. And right when I got you, you have to distract your followers. And so right now, what this is about is not about me. It's about everyone here. It's about, do people here want truth or do they want lies? And it's a decision time. As I said, there is a division. And Bobby Kennedy doesn't want that division because it's going to freaking expose him. And we're going to totally expose him. And this is a time that people need to understand, do they want fake bullshit, fake fighters, or do they want real fighters like me and the people here? And by the way, there's thousands of us because people are waking up to the Robbie Kennedys and the Kennedys.
That's right.
And let me tell you, when people say, what has Kennedy done wrong? Well, first of all, you attacked the wrong guy because I exposed him. Bad mistake. Second of all, he attacked the wrong guy who's exposing the framework so all of you can go attack him. And that's what needs to happen. Not just me. People should get angry with this guy because you won't find anyone as sincere as me or the people here. No one.
That's right.
And the third thing is he endorsed Hillary Clinton. Not once, not twice, not 3. And he supported his nephew here who supports vaccine mandates. So let's just keep it really, really simple. Okay? You had a guy who just vomited on a webpage, just lying his ass off. Lies, 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 lies. Because we got him. And that's what he does. And we got him at a deep level. And what I'm talking about, we got him exposing how his whole Kennedy bullshit works. As Pharaoh talked about, you go look at his father. There was a movement growing called the Civil Rights Movement. They heisted it. They found this guy, Martin Luther King. Beautiful circus. Nice speech. And they ousted all the real fighters. And that's what Kennedy does. He doesn't want the real fighters. So it's really up to everyone to make their own decision.
That's right.
Where's a direct connection between Robbie Kennedy? Where's it and the people you mentioned? Okay, so this foolish person doesn't get it. So you're stupid. Okay, you don't understand that he endorsed Hillary Clinton? Go look it up 3 times publicly. That's game, set, match. Okay, so if you don't get that, Kennedy is the or supporting, or is it a vaccine poisoning factory? Kennedy endorsed Hillary Clinton. Okay. Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai does not run a vaccine manufacturing company. We run technology. Look, email is used by a lot of different people. Okay? We have a technology. Everyone should use it. Eliminate animal testing. Find medicines that actually work safer. Everyone should be using this. That's Cytosol. One day you may need it.
That's right.
Yep. So it's about time for everyone to make a choice. It's decision time. It's hammer time. It's decision time whether you want to follow a leadership, which is about truth, freedom, and health, or are you going to get caught in the rhetoric and the bullshit of people who plagiarize, victimize, make people accomplices? And all of you who are enamored by the Kennedy mystique, let me tell you, in Hollywood, those people who are so enamored, they call you star F-kers. Okay, and you can fill it in. That's what they call you behind closed doors. They don't think highly of you guys who bow down to them. They think you're actually, frankly, stupid. Okay? They don't have a lot of respect for you.
That's right.
That's what this is about. This is about, we've started building a global movement. And as a part of that movement, we've started exposing Robbie Kennedy and his bullshit. And he can't handle the heat, so he has to flail. He just vomited. This is one big vomit. Bruce, do you want to share anything else? Jen? And by the way, someone wrote here, this was all organized. We actually put this together in like 20 minutes, okay?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And we collected signatures. His stupid nephew had to pay for signatures. He's got no support. Bobby Kennedy's got to have 20 people around him.
Yeah, he's definitely trash. And Bruce, before you jump in, do you mind if I alley-oop this really quick?
Sure.
If you can, Dr. Shiva, can you hit my thing? I want to get this last slide off so that we
one. Okay. Yep.
I want to make sure we pin him to the wall.
Okay.
As I was, getting ready to elbow drop RFK, I'm gonna elbow drop him. And what I was doing was I was interconnecting him to who we consider to be the deep state via Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Fauci, and all of those things. And I was ending off talking about the fictional character that, the fictional character role that RFK likes to play. The first warning sign that we should be viewing is the way that he handled his second wife, who apparently he stressed this woman the hell out all the way to the end of her life. And I'm saying apparently and allegedly. Apparently and allegedly, he stressed this woman out to the bitter end of her life and then threw dirt on her name after she died, to which her family says those are lies. Now, is this man the type of man that would lie? Yes, because we're all watching him lie right now. Also, his current marriage that I believe he's still in right now, New York Post just made a post in 2014. He had 43 suspected mistresses in that phone. So we can see here he's doing with his current wife, allegedly what he was doing with his second wife. Now, why is this important? He wants us to believe him over his deceased wife on the grounds that she was an alcohol abuser, but he doesn't want us to say, well, why should we believe you when you were a drug heroin abuser? Now, the final nail in the coffin to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s character is the fact that according to this article published by the Observer on August 26, 2015, he asked someone to whitewash his cousin's murderous past for $12,500. So this speaks entirely to the character of sinister Robert F. Kennedy Jr., not only in his ability to easily lie for slanderous and defamatory purposes, but his willingness to cover up things such as severe as murder. And so I want to read this article before I end, my session of this podcast, so that people can see that this man is not only a Grinch, he's a Sith Lord. Now, as we read this article, it says, this past weekend, I took my daughter to college to start her senior year and helped her move into her apartment with 3 other young women. Like any parent, I'm always worried about money. So it was, it was doubly ironic that last Wednesday, just 2 days before leaving Washington for the 6-hour drive back to my daughter's university, that I got a very generous financial offer to do a month's research for an upcoming book by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the son of murdered Bobby Kennedy and of his widow, Ethel Kennedy. It says, Robert F. Kennedy wanted me to do, in exchange for a minimum of $12,500 was research for a book he's writing to clear Michael Shackle of the 1975 murder of his then girlfriend, Martha Moxley. Shackle, a nephew of Ethel, was sentenced to life in 2002 for blood-goning Moxley to death. Now, I really could use the money at the moment, but there's just one problem. Shackle is obviously guilty. I turned the offer down because some people will do anything for money, but I won't. And I guess I'm just eccentric because I really don't like men who murder young women and then deny responsibility for their actions. And you can end this screen, and I'm going to conclude here. Assuming that the article published by the Observer is true, it tells us that Robert...
Stop it.
No, you're all right.
Okay.
Assuming that this article posted by the Observer is true, what does it tell us? It tells us that Robert F. Kennedy, willingly will slide a murder under the table as if it didn't happen in order to create a narrative. He has attacked Dr. Shiva, lying blatantly to create a narrative. His wife, who committed suicide, which is very sad, he has attacked her character, I personally believe, to create a narrative. And we know that he creates narratives and that he lies, because not only did he just lie on Dr. Shiva, but he asked somebody to help him create a narrative, whitewashing his cousin's murder past for as little as $12,500. And so this guy is a sleazeball.
Yeah, I think Pharaoh, you're bringing up something really important here.
Yeah.
The Kennedys have a history. If you see the movie Chappaquiddick that came out, he clearly killed this woman. The father calls in a whole bunch of people. If you see the movie, it's quite interesting. This was for Teddy Kennedy. He drove with the woman and killed her. Left her, I think, for 16 hours. until they got their story straight. The father brings in a whole bunch of experts to help him spin the story.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
And to everyone listening, you got to understand, that's what the Kennedys do. By the way, someone's asking Pfizer. Pfizer, we are a technology company. We produce a piece of software. Pfizer, the innovation group of Pfizer, and listen very carefully, was recognizing that these pharmaceutical drugs are killing people, that they want to find better ways. We are the hope, in fact, of medicine, the future, because we have a technology that can lower toxicity. Right. In fact, it was a big honor. We got selected as a small 3-4 person company in Cambridge. And then the entire Pfizer innovation group went away. So you got to understand that you're talking to a real technologist. Robbie Kennedy doesn't know shit. So it's time that we go destroy the Kennedys and expose them for what they are. Because what you're talking about, exactly, RFK needs to be exposed. RFK exposed. That's what we should do. Hashtag RFK exposed. Right. Okay? That's what this is about. Because what you're talking about is I'm running against his nephew. He knows I'm going to beat him. His nephew's pro-vaccine mandate. He's helping his nephew raise money. We've exposed RFK hard. And the only thing he can do is vomit with lies. Call me a vaccine manufacturer. How much more lies can you get? So he really wants to be sued. That's what he thinks. And you got to understand, the Kennedys own everything. They kill people. They get away with stuff. Like Pharaoh just said, they blame everyone else. They rewrite narratives. They do this professionally. They're psychopaths. Exactly. Exactly. That's what they are. They're psychopaths. And the people that follow them and get so enamored by them, initially they're victims, and then they become accomplices. Stockholm syndrome. And remember, this guy's been doing this for a long time. I haven't seen him attack Fauci at all, Reagan, as you mentioned, etc. And that's what RFK is. And everyone out there, you have a decision to make. You have a decision to make to go read RFK's vomit step by step, one by one, and realize the amount of vomit he had to put together, just like they re-vomited after they killed that girl, Mary Jo Kopechne. Okay? I mean, the guy should be in jail. He ends up getting to be a senator. Okay? That's what the Kennedys are masters at. Bullshit. Lying. Cheating. They're sinister. They're a sinister family. That's what they are. And that's what we're going to make everyone realize, because the more and more people break from them, the not so obvious establishment, change is going to occur like that. And the establishment uses the Kennedys. That's how they manipulated the civil rights movement. That's what they've done. And it's time that people wake up. Wake up. That's what this is about. This is about waking up. That's all it is. It's about waking up. Do you want truth, freedom, and health? Or do you want to follow the path of power, profit, and control? That's what this is about. Anyone else have anything else to say? Any other questions? No, we don't have a vaccine company. And if you believe we do, you should go suck Robert Kennedy's wherever he's doing all day long. Okay? It's such a blatant lie. Okay. Any other questions? Jen, do you have anything else to say? So anyway, let's end with just sharing with everyone. I'm running for United States Senate. Our campaign is Truth, Freedom, and Health. We're running against a vaccine mandate guy called Joe Kennedy Jr., who Robert F. Kennedy raised money for. So everyone listening, just get this clear. We're running against a Kennedy who Robbie Kennedy raised money for. And remember, Robbie Kennedy endorsed Hillary Clinton 3 times. Someone's asking, can you talk about Microsoft? So whoever you are, you're either, again, stupid, or you think that buying software from Microsoft makes us a partner. Okay? So that's what's going on. You have Robbie Kennedy says something and people follow it. And that's what the Kennedys do. That's what the Kennedys do. They lie, they lie, they lie. They kill people, they lie, they lie, they lie. And it's time we end that. Jen, you have something to say?
I just want to remind moms and parents in particular that this is such a bigger thing going on, right, as far as truth goes, and that people really need to start sticking up and standing up. And because I'm seeing this over and over again, like people are afraid to step up, they're afraid to fight, they're confused. And, you know, I just encourage you to go to truthfreedomhealth.com, start watching some of Dr. Shiva's videos that he's done on the science, on the research, you know, the corruption of the deep state. It's really important that you understand this and you start educating your neighbors and not just sitting back and being afraid to step up. Like when I go out day to day, like I am constantly sharing information with people. And I think that one of the things that concerns me the most is that Kennedy's route is to go legislative, right? And then he's literally just feeding you back to the wolves, right? To go back into the government. You do not want to go legislative. Legislative is the most dangerous. And candidly, the way that we're living right now, we're not even allowed to get together in big groups. So how will we ever fight, right? Truly fight against them when we, you know, unless we go bottoms up. So
yeah,
neighbors, don't take the shit.
Yeah, it's one of the important things that's going to occur here is that when the Kennedys do crimes, they literally have a way of distracting attention from themselves, but we're not going to let them do that. You're going to see the more and more exposure of Robbie Kennedy. This is just the beginning. There's a lot more coming out about this fellow. And this is not going to it's not going to end here. We started a big fight here and it's going to explode. And there's going to be a big partition because there's a big difference between people who want truth, freedom, and health and people like Robbie Kennedy, whose entire family has made their money by lying and cheating and killing people. That's what they're about. And it's time we expose that. And everyone will have to make a decision. And like Jen said, you're going to have to make a decision whether you want to be a voice, a warrior, or whether you want to sit back and be a spectator. That's not what this is about. This is going to be about truth, freedom, and health. And everyone should know that, you know, as someone who's running for U.S. Senate, our entire goal here is to unleash a bottoms-up movement. Robbie Kennedy and his folks will talk about boots on the ground. He doesn't know shit about boots on the ground. We talked to some woman who's running an event in Israel. He wanted to charge her 30 grand to come over there. We were willing to go over there for nothing. And she was asking me for money to pay for him. Okay? When he's got a big multi-billion-dollar trust fund. So think about that. So anyway, in closing, I wish everyone well. We will be doing more videos, but we will not let this guy get away. We will not let him get away 1 inch. And all of you who want to support him, keep supporting him because the demise is near, very, very near, because people are waking up not only to the establishment, but to the not so obvious establishment. If there's any other questions, Jen, is there any other final questions? Why does your site say that you work on vaccines? Okay, let's talk about that. It doesn't say we work on vaccine. It says that we have a technology that can figure out vaccine toxicity. That's what it does and can be used for any toxicity. I don't trust either. Are you a narc? Shiva's explained himself time and time again. Exactly. So what is most important to understand here is that I'm an innovator and a technologist. Robbie Kennedy is basically he's a lawyer lobbyist. We create solutions. He creates nothing. He makes money by begging. Someone said, Kennedy will shut you down. Bring it on. Bring it on. He doesn't know how to shut down anything. He can barely talk. Okay? All right. Oh, by the way, we're going to, Bobby Kennedy is trying to distract things with 5G. That's his new shtick. When one thing, someone else comes in, he goes somewhere else. 5G is a surveillance state. When it comes to electromagnetic radiations, you have to do the analysis. That's what we're going to do on them. And that's what our team is doing. But Bobby Kennedy, right when you go after pharma, if you notice, he's suddenly distracting everyone to 5G. 5G needs to be understood, not with little ecological graphs. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do science. Bobby Kennedy's not a scientist. He knows nothing about science. Prabhakar, Bruce, any final parting words? Michelle?
No.
Yep. Yeah. By the way, to those people who support Kennedy, I know this is it's a horrible day for you guys. Sorry, but it's going to get worse because people are going to drop Kennedy when they realize everything that he's about. It's time that people recognize that we need to build a bottoms-up movement. Yes, we're going to destroy the Kennedy bullshit. Thank you very much. Be well. Be the light. Thank you. Jen, let me share on IGTV. It says select a cover image, Jen.
Yeah, you don't have to do that right now.
You can do that later. Jen? Hello? Hello?